we would create a professional and people-centered central bank with a focus on development financing.
The agricultural sector is pivotal to the growth of the Nigerian economy. According to figures from the Federal Bureau of Statistics, the sector contributed 23.78% to the country's overall gross domestic product in the second quarter of 2021. Activities across the various value chains have ensured that a number of jobs are created in the agricultural sector despite the low-level investment and growth in the agro-processing subsector. The potential of the agricultural sector is huge and indeed can stimulate overall national economic transformation. However, low level of mechanization and technology, among other factors, have hampered the contribution of the sector owing to inadequate funding and investment.
I think the first thing you need to remember is that when this Governor NMFB, came into office in 2014, he did release a blueprint of the type of bank that he wanted to run and the type of policies that he wanted to pursue. And central to that policy plank was to create what he called a people-centered central bank. And one of the gaps that he saw in the economy was that there was a real lack of access to finance for households, for businesses, for farmers, for small-scale, medium-scale enterprises.
He saw an opportunity to create a platform where farmers, artisans, really the vulnerable and the poor, can be able to access credit. Typically, in the Nigerian financial landscape, the farmer can go to any of the deposit money banks to go and ask for a loan, maybe 100, 200,000 to cultivate one hectare of land. The big banks typically, are structured to address corporates, big clients.
So the creation of NIRSAL Microfinance Bank is a direct result of the vision of Governor NMFB to plug that gap and ensure that there was a bank that catered to that medium group of people who needed, say, between 50,000 and a couple million naira.
The NIRSAL Microfinance Bank was incorporated in 2019 by the Central Bank of Nigeria as a dynamic, holistic, public-private initiative to catalyze the flow of finance and investment into fixed agricultural value chains. It was a bold initiative by President Muhammadu Buhari in addressing the key challenges of the sector, particularly access to funds to boost productivity. The bank's ownership structure is as follows: 75% by the Bankers Committee, 15% by NIRSAL PLC, and 10% by the Nigeria Postal Service, NIPOST.
Basically, NIPOST is to live on their assets, to have good outreach, because they have a branch across the country. So the idea is that because they have outreach, they have post office. Most of them are not even utilized, and so we have remodeled it to be able to get the outreach. So the NIRSAL is also supposed to de-risk our assets. The loans were created. That's why we have the two NIRSAL. One as a bank, the other one is to de-risk whatever loans were created, because the greatest risk of all banks is assets, loan assets that can make a bank to go bad. So that is the relationship.
NIRSAL Microfinance Bank approach tackles both the agricultural value chain and the agricultural financing value chain. The clear mandate of processing access to capital for small and medium-scale enterprises, MSMEs, particularly in the agro-allied sectors, remains its biggest assignment.
NIRSAL Microfinance Bank was set up principally to enhance or carry out the aspirations of the federal government of Nigeria as transmuted to the Central Bank of Nigeria for financial inclusion of the masses, those that were unbanked, left unbanked, and of course to provide access to affordable credit, create jobs, create more employment, even provide credit for farmers, the smallholder farmers.
Here, all the risk issues, the collateral, the cash flow, evaluation, as well as guarantee required are all removed.
At the end of it all, NIRSAL Microfinance Bank is expected to be in 764 local governments of the Federation. That is, every local government headquarters in Nigeria will have an office of NIRSAL Microfinance Bank. This will enable the bank to reach out to the grassroots and bank the unbanked.
The bank was established with 7 pilot branches, which was later expanded to 53 branches, and presently we have 115 established in NIPOS offices spread across the country. And for example, whenever management is considering, appraising and considering applications from beneficiaries, it takes a deliberate and conscious effort to ensure geographical spread, equity, gender is maintained, and forwarding its recommendation to CBN for approval.
With a clear mission to be an efficient bank, providing affordable products and services inspired its strategic offerings to the public. One of the bank's mostly subscribed product is the Agribusiness Small and Medium Enterprise Investment Scheme, AGSMEIS. It is specifically designed to promote businesses across the value chains of agricultural production, targeting the small and medium-scale enterprises.
This program is set up to enable individuals to start small businesses and grow them over time, and the existing business looking for funding to be able to also get additional funding to grow their business. Now, the program itself is structured in such a way that you don't just get money. Before you get the money, you need to be trained. And the training is not just vocational. Vocational training is good, but being able to manage your fund, to understand the rudiments of starting a small business is also part of what we do in the training, where applicants at that point get to understand that first, that this is a loan, and there's a tenure for the loan, and there's a moratorium period which enables you to start well, stabilize, and begin to repay.
Eligibility for the AGSMEIS cuts across relevant sectors of ICT, creative and art industries, industrial manufacturing, and hospitality. The requirements for the loan by would-be applicants have been simplified to ensure that it is adequately accessible without collateral, against the practice with deposit money banks.
We have our transparent process that you can apply without knowing anybody and get the loan disbursed to your account. And also, in order to make it faster and easier, we allow people to provide accounts other than NIRSAL accounts. What that means, you can provide bank A, B, C details as your disbursement platform.
On a very good day, at times, we process not less than between 5,000 to 10,000 loans on daily basis, and you with just probably little resources like human resources and the IT. We do face challenges. We had some of these loans because we process them in bulk, where some of them fails, and we'll have to start reprocessing them again. So that causes delay at times, and that causes frustration.
It could be that the batch processing that I talked about is not yet time, you understand? Well, we haven't gotten to them yet. 2, the account number they provided is wrong. We've seen situations where people put their phone number in place of account number. Oh yes. Now some people stop SMS from getting bulk SMS from getting to their phones. That's a problem. The TCF applicants of the beneficiaries, most of them never had accounts. So they go and open tier 1 category savings accounts, and 500,000. The bank, when we send it to the bank that they gave us the details, the bank can take in 500,000. The money returns to us. Oh yes. So we get in touch with these customers when they come to the branches or when they call us to say, please go to your bank and upgrade.
Even though people applied, as you well know, from different states, we kept our eyes on ensuring that each state got about the same thing in terms of ratios. And I tell you, when you look at the North, for example, got about 51% of the TCF, South got about 49%. And if you subdivide the country into geopolitical zones, which is something we are all used to, I think each zone got about between 16 to 18% of the ground of the loan. So I think we were very careful to ensure that it was as evenly distributed as possible.
The multiplier effects in terms of job creation, diversification of the nation's economy, guaranteeing food security, among others, attest to the relevance of the AGSMEIS scheme. The testimonials of some beneficiaries reinforces the impact of this laudable initiative by NIRSAL Microfinance Bank.
When I was called for the first set of interviews, questions, I thought it was fraud, because I'm always quick to believe that everything is fraud. And I was one of those people that was skeptical. In short, I told my sister, call me if you don't hear from me. Then the major challenge we had was some certain machines we need to enhance our production, including even a generator set that could fit into the size of the machines we had. Because of how we produce our coconut oil, having a filtering machine was key for us. And the kind of machine we need to use to mill our coconut flour at the end of it, or any of our packed flour, was also key. And that NIRSAL Microfinance starting the whole loan package was a saving grace for us, because it actually helped us with some machines, and we had working capital which we're still building on up till now.
We are one of the first beneficiaries of the NIRSAL AGSMEIS loan. I got that shortly before the outbreak of COVID, and I mean, it was all over the news that the federal government was supporting SMEs, and I mean, all you needed to do was to take a course. Of course, for any business that wants to grow, you should continue to learn, seek help where required, and that's something we've done as a business.
In just 3 years of its establishment, NIRSAL Microfinance Bank is living up to its mandate of financial inclusion that guarantees access to funds for young entrepreneurs in boosting agricultural productivity in the various value chains. With a national spread across rural communities in Nigeria, NIRSAL Microfinance Bank is the closest financial institution to the grassroots population, especially farmers, agro-cooperatives, SMEs, and processors. The objectives of driving financial inclusion, providing access to funds to smallholder farmers and credits to SMEs, were vital components of Nigeria's recovery from the post-pandemic recession of 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic ensured that the global economy nearly crippled, with particularly devastating impacts on economies of African countries. The strategic intervention of the Central Bank of Nigeria through NIRSAL Microfinance Bank, however, ensured that players in the retail, microeconomic sectors, medium and small-scale enterprises, MSMEs, were kept in business.
With the pandemic, NIRSAL Microfinance Bank has been a vehicle through which CBN have been able to attend to the needs of Nigerians, and be able to assist businesses that have been grossly affected by the pandemic, as it is so in developed countries.
If you can get other sectors to survive, then that's what it means. The economy moves on. Don't forget that businesses were grounded. But if I know that if I go to the market to buy fish for my restaurant, the fish seller is happy. My restaurant, somebody can come and buy because he has extra money to spend. He's lost his job, but now he can pay the rent. The landlord is happy. There is a multiplier effect on this, and that's precisely how you create the activities that take you out of any depressive state in the economy.
The Targeted Credit Facility, TCF, otherwise known as COVID-19 loan, is a stimulus package that was introduced by CBN in 2020 to allow creditors with access to over 25 million naira. It is intended to support households and micro, small and medium enterprises (MSMEs) affected by the COVID-19 pandemic in various parts of the country.
The impact of COVID-19 loans has not only created jobs, reduced poverty, it has also enabled the economy to come out of recession. You recall that the economy went to recession during the COVID-19. So the money that was pumped into the system helped recover the economy. Because if you look at it, it's not even about people doing business, it's also about people buying. Because when you buy in the market, the money rotates, the money circulates. So people now have cash flow, business have cash flow, businesses open, and people get employed. So eventually it's improved the quality of living.
On our portal, we have over 8 million applications. We can't give it all. We have just limited funding. So we strategically make sure that this funding is spread around everywhere. So now, there are different types of application. Now, the reason for putting up an online application is so that people can have access wherever they are. That doesn't mean that we don't also take applications, written applications. So the applications that come by letter, and then we attend to them. And there are also applications that come from all over. So we balance it. But the whole idea of putting out the portal is so that everyone, wherever you are, you can access as long as you're Nigerian.
I'm Ryan Julius, beneficiary of the COVID-19 loan. With the COVID-19 loan, I was able to use it to get a car, to repair my car, use it for Uber car business. I want to say thank you to the federal government for the opportunity.
My name is Samson, God bless, and I received the COVID-19 relief fund, and this is what I'm using it for. I'm in a lesson in school with my students, and these are my various things. So thank you so much for the relief fund. That's helped a lot. That's improved me as a person and my student also.
My name is Evelyn Omare. I want to thank you for the COVID-19 loan one I give us. See my shop, because of that loan, I don't buy so many things for my shop. My shop been down empty, but because of the loan, see everywhere don't full. I want to thank you for what you do for me. See everywhere, see my shop, everywhere don't full. I want to thank you federal government. Thank you.
The strategic intervention of NIRSAL Microfinance Bank through the CBN's Anchor Borrowers Program underscores the critical role of the bank in driving economic growth and development. The evident increase in productivity in rice, cassava, and poultry farming has remarkably impacted on job creation in the value chains. Today, farmers, off-takers, processors, and produce distributors are actively and fully back in business due to the CBN's Anchor Borrowers Program being handled by NIRSAL Microfinance Bank.
The CBN now realized that most of these financial institutions were shying away from taking the responsibilities of financing smallholder farmers due to the riskiness of their transactions when it comes to agriculture. As we all know that agriculture is a very risky business. In that wise, the CBN now had to say, okay, which establishment can we use? And NIRSAL came on board. And we've noticed that NIRSAL have been taking the bold step towards the financing of these smallholder farmers.
Similarly, the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund, NYIF, is another novel scheme dedicated to investing in the innovative ideas, skills and talents of Nigerian youths. The program seeks to transform young innovators into entrepreneurs, wealth creators, and employers of labor. The NYIF guarantees access to 3 million naira credit facility to its beneficiaries. It is in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, specifically for persons within the ages of 18 and 35 years. Non-interest banking is also part of the products.
The products that we're using is in Sharia compliance. We're using two Islamic banking financing mode products to actually run the non-interest intervention funds in NIRSAL. We use Murabaha and also Ijara. Murabaha is a sales transaction where someone wants to purchase or needs a facility to purchase an item, and he comes to the bank, and the bank, instead of giving him cash, will buy or purchase that item for the beneficiary and later sell that item to the customer at a markup. The markup is the profit that will accrue to the bank. The Hijara is a lease financing product, also used basically for leasing, and at the end of the day, it depends on the agreement between the beneficiary and the banker and the bank.
So far, 922,229 Nigerians have benefited from the disbursed 525.67 billion naira. Targeted credit facility 752,152. AGSMEIS 30,941. Anchor Borrowers Program 106,935. Non-interest banking TCF 26,659. Nigerian Youth Investment Fund 5,542.
If everybody had used the money unwisely, I'm not sure we would have come out of a recession very quickly. So I think it's been a success. If you look at also the balance sheet of NIRSAL Microfinance Bank, I think they've shown that they can succeed and survive or even thrive in the environment that we found ourselves. At the end of 2019, the balance sheet of NIRSAL Microfinance Bank was just under 33 billion. As we speak, is approaching 370 billion in balance sheet. So I do think that it's been a success all around.
I had people telling me that if not for NIRSAL, the economy would have been under lock up to now. Not that they would have been under recession. I also had people tell me that in their life, they have never received 100,000. All of a sudden, they saw 500,000 in their account. And a lot of them, if you see what they do with it, you will be impressed. To the extent that they will be self-employed, they will be self-reliant, and also help other people by way of getting employment for other people. Not only that, government also can benefit, apart from economic growth, increase in output for goods and services, which can, of course, lead to reduction of inflation. Government can benefit from that, from tax payments.
Questions have been raised by some analysts on the sustainability model of NIRSAL Microfinance Bank, considering the perceived notion by Nigerians that government loans are freebies, not meant to be returned.
We expect that you pay back this money because it's supposed to be a revolving loan, so that those of us who are waiting to get access to the fund can have it and also pay back.
A pay back, B is able to get. But if A did not pay back, B cannot get. What that means, B or A that did not pay back will find out that he might be blackmailed in the banking system. He cannot take loan again. We can even publish his name in the national newspaper. Central Bank also came out with an idea or a framework, what they call global standing instruction. So irrespective of why you have your account balances, once you default at repayment, your account will be debited by NMFB will be paid back. So essentially, we urge people that to help the government, because government have come out with this idea, so they also have the responsibility to also pay back. And we want to make year 2022 a kind of a strategic term for aggressive recovery, so that those who don't get may be able to get.
I mean, as a central bank, I don't treat them differently. I treat them just like I treat every other bank. So leverage technology, build skill, be efficient, and build a big name in the market. As it is today, I'm sure they're already bigger than some of the tier 2 banks in the DMB space. So I wish them well. They'll continue to grow, and hopefully to achieve all the objectives that have been set out.
If NIRSAL sure that I believe ordinary people will come to the street and start demonstrate that, wow, this is the vehicle helping us. So I want to believe that because of that, because of the name we have made, because of our strategy to diversify our source of liquidity, rather than rely on CBN intervention funds, which I believe the governor of Central Bank has done very well in supporting us, we also want to source for funds like any other bank. So we'll be competing like any other bank. And we have the branches, we have the technology, we have the people, we have the process. So we believe we'll be able to deliver on sustainability.
The assurance by the President, Muhammadu Buhari, to guarantee economic inclusion and support innovative ideas have been fulfilled through the numerous programs being implemented by the CBN through NIRSAL Microfinance Bank. While it is true that the journey has only begun, it is, however, reassuring that under the current leadership of the bank, the future is indeed promising.